I mean, come on. If you think I'm half-assed in the lunch hour, you're out of your mind. I'm sweating in this taco. It's the recap lunch hour with me, Ryan McGuffey. I'm okay. Looking like an idiot because you know what? It's Halloween, folks. It's Halloween. It's Halloween. I'm going as a taco because it's the lunch hour. Matter of fact, had a taco for lunch today. Had a taco for lunch today. Okay. I want to know a couple things about Halloween before we move on into the sports world. By the way, it is the recap lunch hour. In case you're wondering, this is a taco. Yes, I'm dressed like an idiot. I'm okay with that. Let's talk about some candy. Okay, favorite Halloween candy. Let me tell you what the McGuffies do. We're traditional. You know why? We have kids. So first come, first serve. We're not doing the king size bars yet. We're not in that stage of life. This is traditional. By the way, you can have these. I'm not a Milky Way guy. Out. To me, those are easy pitch all day long. Sorry for those of you with peanut allergies. All right. Also not a big Snickers guy. I know, Mom, I'm sorry. Snickers, classic. So I would rank these three. If we were going to go with Matt yesterday, who had the start bench cut, I'm starting M&M's. I'm benching Snickers and Milky Way. Adios. So chime in. Yes, I'm dressed like a taco. I don't care. Viral me all over the place. It's fine. It's the recap lunch hour. It's Halloween. We're getting ready. We're a couple hours away from dancing all over this neighborhood, trying to figure out who's got the best candy, who's worth hitting twice. Yes, I'm not going trick-or-treating, but I kind of am because my kids are. We'll scout the neighborhood and we'll figure out what the best options are and we'll keep coming back. My favorite is what's become a tradition, okay? And I don't know how this is where you live. Happy to chime in. I'd love to hear. Parents get a little bit of a pick-me-up, occasional beer handout. Maybe there was a cocktail bar, a pop-up cocktail bar on our traditional Halloween route last year. Like full serve. I had an old fashioned. It was something. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it in your neighborhood, but if you do something like that, chime in. Because I would love to maybe come out there one day, have a Halloween cocktail. So a couple of actual sports news, not just me looking like an obnoxious taco. The White Sox officially announced the hiring of Will Venable. He did a Zoom. I was on that Zoom with local media and GM Chris Getz. A couple of things stood out to me. Chris Getz, the initial candidate pool. David Kaplan calling me during the recap. You would think a guy who has a channel named after himself would understand that we're doing some live content on said channel. Come on, Cap. You're better than that. Will Venable, one of 60 manager candidates interviewed for the job. 60. I've never heard of such an exhaustive process for a manager in Major League Baseball history. Now, granted, not every organization comes forward with the list of or the amount of people interviewed for a job. That list of 60 was narrowed down to 20. 20 was named to 5 finalists. The 5 finalists were actually brought in to Chicago to go through multiple interviews and multiple processes with other people in the front office, not just ownership, not just Jerry. You're talking about analytics, you're talking about baseball ops, and obviously Chris Getz and company. Sean, what's up, man? Good to see you again. Cardinals decline options on Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn. Well, we can tell you one thing. I would bet the farm that Lance Lynn is not going to be coming back to the Chicago White Sox. Okay? I will bet you anything you'd like. Me dressing up as a taco for longer than a lunch hour period, I will make that bet. Kyle Gibson, I won't make that bet. The Cardinals have said they're trying to clear some money. They are kind of trying to figure out who they are. They're an older team trying to get younger while winning at the same time. So Lance Lynn, he'll get a job. He's a veteran. He'll get a job. Somebody will pick him up. He's one of those guys. Kyle Gibson, again, if you're a pitcher and you're healthy, even if you're not, I mean, like, look at the pitchers who were not healthy. You know, Mike Clevenger, he barely pitched at all last year. He got a job. So if you're injured, Aloha, thoughts on Venable? Yeah, before you join, man, I was just telling you, I was on the Zoom this morning with Will Venable. And first of all, impressive guy. You know, guys, I tweeted this. I retweeted a tweet from Scott Merkin, our friend at MLB.com, White Sox writer, friend of mine. And Venable talked about what he learned from his stops along the way in coaching. The Cubs with Joe Madden, the Red Sox with Alex Cora, the most recently the Texas Rangers with Bruce Bochy. So you're talking about Hall of Fame managers here, okay? Not Alex Cora, but the other two. And don't forget that his first stop was Theo Epstein's front office before going down to the field with Madden. Find me a first, like a lot of people are complaining, okay? A lot of people are complaining that the White Sox hired a manager with no experience. First off, welcome to the club. They do this a lot. Secondly, find me a manager. I'm not kidding. Like in baseball history, first-time manager that has the mentors from playing career to the managerial post that Will Venable has. Okay? Find me that guy. That part I love. Like, I love that, Aloha, on Venable. I love his pedigree. I love that he's coming from the game he just played less than 10 years ago. We've seen how that matters. I know people aren't going to be like, well, the White Sox didn't play for Grady Sizemore. I actually disagree with that. Speaking of Grady Sizemore, without confirming, it sounded an awful lot like Grady Sizemore will be on this coaching staff. Will Venable asked a question to Chris Getz, not on the Zoom, but prior to getting the job, about what's going to happen to Grady Sizemore. Grady Sizemore does have a contract that extends in through 2025. I'm guessing that contract was either amended or ripped up, and he is going to have – I would be stunned if he didn't have a position, and this was prior to today's Zoom. I thought he would have one. Pablo, literally had a taco in my hand and just lost my appetite for it. LOL. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, Pablo. Okay. This thing here, I'm a little concerned about I'm a little concerned about these like little pieces of cheese. I think they are. I mean, what else would they be? If they're chicken, I'm running away from what that is. But yeah, the shell itself is actually pretty well done. I think the shell's good. Pablo, keep eating that taco, man. You know, even if you have to turn your screen off for a second. Any last words for Moncada as a member of the White Sox? Bye-bye. That's my last words for him. Those are my last words for Yoan Moncada. You know what I loved about Yoan Moncada at the end of the year? They brought him up, okay? They brought him up and sat him. I at first was pissed because I thought, what the hell's the point of bringing up Yoan Moncada to play him 2 more weeks? No, it wasn't. Instead they bring up Yoan Moncada just to be like, dude, you ain't going home yet. No. We're going to pay you. No shot. Okay? I loved it. So do I think I have any last words for Yoan Moncada? Yeah. You know what I would say? Like, he's likely to get a major or minor league deal. Okay? Likely to get a minor league deal. I can tell you Eloy Jimenez will get a minor league deal. I can tell you that right now. And if he doesn't, maybe the Marlins or somebody like that give him a major league deal. But, you know, when we're doing the lunch hour and he signs a minor league deal at some point, let me know. As for Yoan Moncada, maybe someone takes a flyer. But look, guys, the back of the baseball card's already there. Okay? Do we think Will Venable will be the manager the next time the White Sox are in the playoffs? Okay. So the question with that is, when is the next time the White Sox are in the playoffs? First off, right now, I said this yesterday on our newest episode of the podcast, I just don't see a scenario right now that has the White Sox being contenders of anything until 2027. Now, that roster can change. Venable is very well respected in the game. Okay. I do like that about what Chris Getz is doing. He's hiring guys who want to be here. that are not from the organization and are from outside the organization. Like not meaning like not the same teams. You know, I know the Royals joke is there. He's not here, Jason, for a Band-Aid fix. He's not Ricky Renteria. You know, he's not I mean, like Renteria is the best example. I think he's here to see it through, get it through. Think about Brandon Hyde with the Baltimore Orioles. That would be my comp. Brandon Hyde had to ride that 60-win teams, like those 100-loss teams that the Orioles had back to back to back. I think it was back to back to back. He rode through it. I always thought, well, Brandon Hyde's going to have to eat the crap sandwich, and then when it's time to win, they're going to have to bring somebody else in. Now, they have fallen flat in the playoffs, okay? I think it's more so because they're pitching and they're stubborn and they want to hang on to every bat that they have prospect-wise. Hopefully that changes. I think Garrett Crochet is a great match there. But I can see Venable being a Brandon Hyde type. I could see him being here for quite a while. So, Aloha, the Venable contract terms, multi-year deal. That's what we know. The White Sox, who are really good about being public on player contracts, they never publish manager or front office deals. So when you see extensions, you always see the multi-year deal reached. So that's the deal there. Sean wants to mention that the Cubs hired Quentin Berry as a third base coach. If I'm not mistaken, Quentin Berry was a managerial candidate in a couple of jobs in the last couple of years. So Willie Harris, former White Sox, out, and Quentin Berry, he might have been. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm like this off the top of my head. Quentin Berry might have been with the Cubs. He might have been a Cub just a few short years ago. So, yeah, I mean, look, so the Dodgers win the World Series last night, okay, and the Dodgers win the World Series last night, and this is when baseball starts. Like for the two teams not in the World Series, it's officially hot stove right now. I mean, the Cubs have a big thing coming here with a big decision coming that they have no control over, whether Cody Bellinger is going to opt out. Well, I think he is going to opt out. And then what? Okay. The White Sox had to hire a manager. Then they have to start thinking about what's our roster look like. We're probably not going to bring all that payroll back. What's the roster look like? Is Garrett Crochet a part of the future? You know, is Luis Robert coming back for 1 year, $15 million with a couple of options? I would trade him in a second. Okay. Aloha. Or Sean, breaking news. Jorge Soler traded to the Angels. Is that true? Or are you just coming? That's a day after the World Series trade. Is that what's happening? That's like, talk about waiting for the World Series to end. Let's see. That might be on Twitter. So, Sean, you might be breaking news on the recap lunch hour. Aloha. What does Juan Soto's next contract start with? At least the 5. At least the 5. Yes, Matt. Here we go. I just mentioned you, Matt. You just thanks for being here. I'm sweating in this taco, by the way. Happy Thursday and Halloween. Send you a start bench cut. M&M's, Kit Kat, Skittles. Okay. So first off, here are the 3. For those of you just joining, here are the 3 that I have. I said this about our house is not all that from a Halloween standpoint. Not like you take the candy and you go. You don't mark it as like, let's come back. Because I got kids. I'm not going to stand it. Eventually, I'm going to be that cool. We're a cool house for other reasons, but not for this. So traditional candies here, Matt. From these, I did start bench cut without you, but I said start M&M's. So to answer your question, M&M's, Kit Kat, Skittles. Okay, M&M's are starting. Yours, I'm benching Kit Kat because there's always room for Kit Kat. Skittles are being taken off the market. They're no longer going to be available to us. The dye's been killing people for years, and no one told us. At least that's what they said. So that's 110,000 Skittles I consumed as a child, and maybe some as an adult. I'm going to bench it. You know why? They're being benched by everybody else. So that's what's going on. The Braves are making moves. The Braves always make moves. The Braves are always ahead of everything. They're always ahead of the curve. Anthopoulos is a guy. Look, if the Braves would have, I think the Braves would have been an interesting contender because they had a loaded roster that could not stay healthy. Rotation, the lineup, Austin Riley out for most of the second half. I mean, they just could, and they still almost got in. It still came down to the last weekend of the year. Oh, they did get in, didn't they? They did get in. They did get in. I mean, that tells you how great that they're built. They could have been, I think they could have made a deep run. I don't know what your guys' thoughts about the Dodgers win the World Series. I'm glad it's over. I mean, as much as I was looking forward to the World Series, it just, after it was 3-0, like, it was time. And that whole idiot New York stuff, the fact that guy in New York's being, like, glorified as some kind of hero is a joke. Like, that just pisses me off. And, Freddie Freeman had such an amazing World Series. And Michael Kopech is a World Series champion, folks. He's a World Series champion. He was on the field last night. His parents tweeted some photos of them after the game. His dad, who I got to know a little bit during the process with coming up through the minor leagues and getting to know this guy. You guys know where I feel in this. I'm ecstatic for Michael Kopech. Freddie Freeman, that guy went through a lot of stuff off the field with his kid, Max, I believe. And just a really tough year. His mom has cancer. Like, dudes, and not that we all don't have our problems. Freddie Freeman's going to do just fine with his 9-figure contract. But I'm a storyteller. I love good stories. And Freddie Freeman, Game 1 of the World Series was as good as any World Series game I've ever seen, maybe minus the 4 that happened in 2005. And I'll even give a hat tip to Game 7 for the Cubs. Do you guys care? I mean, the Dodgers were the best team built start to finish. I mean, that lineup of Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman is just absolutely insane. Let's see. Was that as good as a World Series can be for a 4-1 series? You know what, Snacks? Didn't think about it like that. Game 1, I just said Game 1, best. I mean, literally, like, it's in the conversation. Game 2 was fantastic too. And then last night, let's not crap on last night. The Yankees are up 5-0. It looks like it's signed, sealed, delivered going back to LA. And all of a sudden, a couple of errors, booting some balls around. They look like the White Sox for a half an inning, and we're tied at 5. And give the Dodgers credit for finding a way. So the Venable press conference happened. There was a Venable Zoom availability today. Let me explain this. I do believe that they're going to do one at the ballpark in November 8th. I want to say it's going to be not confirmed yet. I believe that's when it is. Here's why they did a Zoom. And I know, like, some fans, like, why can't we see it? So the GM meetings start Tuesday. Okay. The White Sox are trying to get a manager named prior to then. They did. Thankfully, the World Series ended. And they're going to be traveling as a group and starting budget plans. They're going to start the trade discussion process with GMs and other managers, get to know managers, etc. So there was really no option. Venable looked like he was at his home, likely, and I don't know if where his offseason home is, but he was a member of the Rangers, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's in Arizona. He looked pretty good because his backdrop included a World Series trophy from last year's Rangers team. So that was good. So that's the deal with the Venable press conference, and I'm hoping to get Venable on our podcast with Brian Anderson sometime in the coming weeks. Wayne, trade Robert. Has no concept on how to adjust to anything outside. I take a grounds crew member for him. He's a bust, and up at the plate seems to refuse to adjust his approach. So, Wayne, I think you're just kind of the voice of a lot of frustrated White Sox fans, which I totally understand, man. I totally get it. I've been there. I'm with you for some of the reasons. I still think Robert has a lot to give and offer. I just don't know if it's here. And while that might infuriate some people, even piss some people off, he's got 1 year left. That's guaranteed. The other 2 are options. So I think there's one thing we've learned about Luis Robert. He's probably better served as like the 4th or 5th guy on a really good team. Like the Braves are a really good example. The Braves would be a great fit for Luis Robert because you have stars there. You have MVPs there. He can slide right in, even hit like 6th, just try to stay healthy, play a great Gold Glove center field, and like say nothing. which I think he prefers. So not their fault they got paid. They meaning the big three, the big three, the three flops. I count Robert as a bust too. And that includes last season's, 38 and 35 doubles or whatever it was, the 30-30 season he had. And steals. He can't stay on the field. Like, to your point, I'll give you Luis Robert has not played 100 games more than once. I believe he didn't get to 100 this year. Let's see. And the funny part is, there it is. He got to exactly 100 games. So he played 100 games this year and 140. Last year was great. 130 OPS plus. His OPS was 857. He had 38 bombs, 36 doubles, 20 stolen bases, 80 RBI. Obviously, a lot of solo home runs on the team. He just got to 100 games. 14 homers, 35 RBI, 19 doubles, a 657 OPS. That's crap. You need more. So, Wayne, I don't discredit that at all. Rehab trade value for Benintendi after his hot second half. Don't be surprised, Christian and others. Don't be surprised if Benintendi's not on this roster. I heard at the deadline last offseason that multiple teams were willing to take on his money in a Garrett Crochet package. What shut that down was Garrett Crochet saying he wouldn't pitch in the playoffs and he wanted an extension. So think about that. Before Benintendi actually had a really good second half. And just for those like saying, Benintendi this and that, like his second half, honestly, pretty damn good. His second half, Andrew Benintendi, I hope I'm not talking this into existence here, 830 OPS, okay? 13 homers, 38 RBI, hit 263. That definitely rehabbed his value for sure. Never quit. Sean updating his breaking news here on the recap. Lunch hour. Griffin Canning going to the Braves for Jorge Soler. I mean, anybody recall a trade happening the day after the World Series? Anybody? That's fantastic. Like, again, to a point about the Braves making moves, they were, it's like, okay, game on, here we go. Who seems uninterested, Wayne? Is that, I'm guessing you're talking about Luis Robert. There were times in the second half it felt that way. Okay, I don't love the name. Robert isn't a bust. Dude just gave up. You agree that he's got a lot in the tank, but, I don't know. At what point do you label a guy a bust? I mean, he got $80 million. Actually, that's tweaked because of the player options. But if you're going to look at Luis Robert, I mean, of the three, he's the best. He's a career 13.9 WAR player. Okay, he has a 1.4 this year. I guess we can not call him a bust. I don't know. I'm not ready to go there yet. Does this organization find success with Getz as the GM? I feel like it's a little bit loaded. And the reason I say that is if he's allowed to do the job, I am encouraged by the managerial search. I'll say that. I'm encouraged by the people he's bringing in from outside of the organization. Okay. People might not want to hear that, but Will Venable is one of the most attractive candidates in baseball for a managerial job. Last year, he turned down the right to move forward with the Cleveland Guardians and the New York Mets, both of who were in the championship series this year. And now he's the manager of the Chicago White Sox and didn't see any reason not to take this call. Not to take the call, not to take the job. Him and Chris Getz have a history. He's very well respected in the game. I already mentioned the pedigree. His dad was a player 12 years in the bigs. His brother was an athlete. His brother was a player on the Bears in 2011. His mom, athlete. Raymond, no one's untouchable on the Sox. Agreed. I got nothing. There's nothing to say there. No hitting coach again. Max, he hasn't named the staff yet. This is actually something I brought up on the podcast. I'm probably most looking forward to who the staff is, because what I'm sick of is a bunch of staffs that I have to Google. And I know the game. I know guys who've had fringe careers. Look at some of the better organizations and some of the people on their coaching staffs. The Dodgers just had Mark Pryor as a hitting coach. Bob Guerin sat in a managerial chair for a long time. I'm forgetting the They have a catcher, I think, is a assistant hitting. They have players. It matters. Start with Kit Kat for that crunch alone. M&M's bench, Skittles cut for future dental. Yeah, I didn't bench Pablo. I didn't bring up the dental. I think the die at this point, we'll see. Love the manager pick. It's a start. What's next? The staff, and then, like I said, Wayne, what's to come with the roster decisions? Would you keep Ethan Katz? I think they're keeping him. I think they like what a lot of people back. He's getting a pass. His bullpen sucked last year. There's a lot of success stories last year that came up, and he did Drew. There's a lot to look forward to in the rotation. I think it's all about the lineup. It's as bare as anything. So we'll see. I think Katz could stay, but I do think his seat would be warmer out of the gate. Wayne, miss you and Chuck together. You both are the best. Appreciate you, brother. Just so everyone's clear, Chuck and I are doing damn good as really good friends. We'll always be friends for the rest of our lives. Sometimes work dictates other things. I was fortunate to have 20 years with my guy, 8 of which were last 8 of which were on the White Sox Talk podcast. He's got that up and running again on CHSN. You guys should check that out. I'm sure you have. I think he had Hawk Harrelson yesterday. I've started a new one, the White Sox REKAP podcast with former center fielder Brian Anderson. So we recorded a new episode yesterday as well. That's anywhere you can find podcasts, audio, and the videos here on YouTube. So definitely check us out. Wayne, I know Chuck. I'm a big Chuck guy. I'll always listen to the podcast. I'll always follow him. I'll watch the pre and post game shows. This time as a fan, it's going to be nice to separate myself from that. You guys are really pouring them in today. Who wins tonight, Jets or Texans? I hate the game. It's gross. It feels like the Texans are just the easiest pick here. The Jets, I swear to God, it feels like every time I turn on a night game, the primetime game, the Jets are playing, and I don't. Please. So for that alone, I would love to see a loss. They seem like a complete catastrophic mess. I'll put a little same game together, though. One free agent you want us to sign, putting me on the spot. The problem is, Max, it's not going to be somebody that's going to get you excited, man. If I were the White Sox, I would invest a 2-year deal into a surprising bullpen arm, meaning a guy who seems like he's going to have some value, maybe 2-year, $15 million type guy, and try to shut down that 8th and 9th inning. You can't give games away. I mean, they lost 121, as we know. They gave a lot of games away, 7, 8, and 9, and a lot of leads away, which they're going to do. That's kind of what I would look at, because bullpen volatility and then just the price of bullpens and trade market are always going to be there. I think you'll see some free agent type guys, 1-year deal for the Paul DeYoung types, the Nicky Lopez types. Is there another creative deal for an Eric Fetty type? Not Eric Fetty, but that was an under the radar signing that gets, I think people forgot about because they traded. So, we'll see. What the heck am I wearing? Hey, I don't know what happens in Toronto, TSI Mike, but this is Halloween, buddy. I'm wearing a taco that looks like somebody may have thrown up in it, right? This is a taco, bud. Happy here. In case you didn't know, it's Halloween. I put all the fixings on my taco. All right. Good to have you here, buddy. Good to have you here. They need to be flexed out of. Yeah, the Jets are terrible. Hopefully, yep, I agree here. Raymond, your candies, Kit Kat and Reese's. You know what? No one's ever going to complain about what you're handing out, my friend. No one's ever going to complain. If you have MLB, get the Sox games. You'll have to pay. Yeah, you'll have to get the antenna. If you're local, you'll have to get the antenna. Off topic. Well, I hope so, Hector. I got a lot of people over there that I care about, and, I'm rooting for. I will say we have a video coming to the channel that we're going to show you. Cap and I did the antenna the other day, and let's film this and see what happens. We actually got it up and running in 6, 7, 8 minutes. So that part's relatively easy. I know the idea of going out and buying it is a pain, but for now you can get your White Sox for free. Well, the Bulls and Blackhawks for free. Let's hope there's a deal coming soon. I know they have some direct-to-consumer options coming as well. Randall Grichuk seems to be a perfect fit for the Sox. I think, Matt, that's kind of what we're looking at, man. I think we're looking at these flip guys, these sign and flip guys. Do we go young and go with it? Probably. Are you a taco? Armando? Damn right, my man. Taco. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. The Jets lost. Yeah, tough to say. Couldn't tell with the close-up. Spicy Guff. Yeah, here I could lose here. I do. I'm a spicy taco. I am a fiery taco. My taco would definitely have heat in it, no doubt. So love having you, TSI. You know that. What if I live in Massachusetts? I think you're probably good then, Max. Keep on keeping on with your MLB TV. This has been awesome. You guys are just firing away. You know what's fun? You know what's fun is that baseball always matters when it's like, okay, off season. The biggest news of the White Sox might be in the off season. That sucks. I'm hoping that a shorter, maybe shorter time frame than I hope. We could be talking about like some real logistic, big time free agents here, but I also know what that means. That's a whole nother avenue, probably a whole nother recap lunch hour. Have a great Halloween. Have a safe Halloween. For those who have kids, go be a kid with your kids, man. Like look at me. I could care less. You can't take yourself too seriously. Go out for as long as you want with your kids tonight. Have a smile, have a drink, give them a hug, check their candy, as we know, and maybe steal a little bit of their candy too. Do you guys have a separate studio for the recap? We do, Matt. We do. I'm not currently in it, but most of the stuff that you've seen me and Cap in recently, we do have a new studio, and it's pretty fun. It's a pretty sweet, hip little like apartment type style. So we'll have some content for there coming. Our amazing employee. I hate that. Our amazing employee, Katie, our behind the scenes superstar, is just kicking it and killing it with some of the social content and behind the scenes content coming from there. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It's been the Recap Lunch Hour. I'm Ryan McGuffey. We'll keep on keeping on with this stuff. And you know what? Another reminder, smile, live, laugh, love, never take yourself too seriously.